now, if you don't mind, we're going to get to the news. President Trump is set to meet today with Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, which is a good start, but I still think Trump deserves further punishment. President Trump on Saturday ordered the Defense Department to deploy troops to Portland to secure the city. From what? Farmers markets? The only crime in Portland is the price of locally sourced honey. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth will reportedly host a meeting this week at the Marine base in Quantico with a large number of generals and admirals, and knowing Pete, at least one captain. President Trump told reporters this week that since he visited the New York Yankees earlier this month, star player Aaron Judge has, quote, been on a spree. Wow, anything else you want to take credit for? You know, ever since I met Brad Pitt, he's been dating a lot of women. He's had a lot of dates. In a post last week on Truth Social, President Trump announced he'll be imposing a 50% tariff on, quote, kitchen cabinets, bathroom vanities, and associated products. Oh no, what did they say about him? President Trump posted a video yesterday on Truth Social showing the gold wall decorations for the Oval Office laid out on a table with the caption, quote, foreign leaders and everyone else freak out when they see the quality and beauty. That's not why they're freaking out. They're freaking out because they think they've discovered the tomb of an ancient pharaoh. After a reporter asked Turkish President Erdogan a question during last week's Oval Office press conference in Turkish, President Trump asked for a translation and said, quote, I haven't learned his language yet. Brother, you haven't learned ours yet.
I said, well, let's see how we say that. I said, Menafin.
Also, what do you mean you haven't learned his language yet? Are you actively trying to learn Turkish? I think if you were the Duolingo owl would have killed himself by now. Nope. New York Mayor Eric Adams announced yesterday he's dropping out of the mayoral race, and at least one community in New York is very happy about it. BMW has issued a recall for nearly 200,000 vehicles because there's a potential risk that they could catch fire. And that could be a real problem because, you know, half of them are parked in front of a hydrant. U.S. News and World Report last week ranked Princeton as the top national university of 2026, but there's no shame in ending up at your safety school. And finally, more than 400 items from Muppets creator Jim Henson are set to go up for auction. It's just too bad the only guys who can afford them hate The Muppet Show. While welcoming Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to the White House yesterday, President Trump told reporters that he's very confident he can quickly achieve a peace deal in Gaza. Dude, you said within 24 hours 9 months ago, quickly is no longer in the cards. That's like James Cameron saying, Avatar 4 is coming quickly. That's right, President Trump told reporters he's very confident he can quickly achieve a peace deal in Gaza. This from the guy who couldn't even end the war in Portland. In a post on Truth Social on Saturday, President Trump announced that he has ordered the Defense Department to deploy troops to Portland to do what? Find all those missing drummers? President Trump told NBC News that he would imagine that the Justice Department is investigating former FBI Director Christopher Wray. Then he winked so hard at Pam Bondi that his hair popped up like a garbage can lid. Graphics spent a lot of time on that today, and it paid off. Can we see it one more time? Can we play it one more time for everybody? So you know, then. I like they added the eyes moving back and forth. He was being a little shifty, like, oh. Let's watch it one more time. Get the whole thing. Watch the eyes. Yeah. In a post yesterday on Truth Social, President Trump announced that he will impose a tariff on any country that does not make its furniture in the U.S., which explains why IKEA is now selling meatballs for $99 a piece. While speaking yesterday about the cost of higher education, Governor Ron DeSantis promoted the new College of Florida to parents nationwide and added, quote, "Would you rather visit your kid in January in Michigan or Sarasota?" Does this guy even know how college works? Nobody visits their kid in January. They were just home for Christmas. And finally, Sprout Organics has issued a recall for pouches of sweet potato, apple, and spinach baby food due to elevated levels of lead, and even worse, spinach. Bays be hating spinach. Our head writer hates spinach so much that when he even sees spinach, he looks one way, and then he looks the other, and he winks and his hair pops up. The federal government shut down at midnight for the first time since President Trump's first term. I guess we can't be surprised. He doesn't have a great track record of keeping things open. Hundreds of thousands of federal workers are set to be furloughed after the government shutdown. Luckily, Stephen Miller already found part-time work. At the beginning of an address yesterday to high-ranking military officials, President Trump said that he had, quote, "never walked into a room so silent before." Oh, come on, man. Those are career military professionals. They're too dignified to boo. During the same address, President Trump said that he is very careful not to fall down the stairs. So you gathered hundreds of generals and admirals in one place and you told them you're scared of the stairs? That's not leadership. That sounds like a stress dream you would have in college. President Trump also told military leaders that the U.S. is beginning the next chapter of military lore, and then, for some reason, taught us how to spell it.
Lore. That's L-O-R-E.
Did you think we didn't know that? There's an E at the end of lore. That always messes people up. President Trump announced the deal yesterday with the pharmaceutical company Pfizer to sell drugs directly to consumers at discounted prices through a website operated by the federal government called Trump RX. I don't know. I don't want to get caught buying drugs from a convicted felon. During a press, it's just not safe. During a press conference yesterday on lowering prescription drug costs, President Trump heard Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. sneeze behind him and said, quote, "I hope I didn't catch COVID just there. Buddy, COVID is the best case scenario. That guy eats roadkill, drinks raw milk, and doesn't like vaccines. You'd be better off if the Wuhan bat sneezed on you." The Donald J. Trump Presidential Library Foundation announced yesterday that President Trump's library will be built at Miami-Dade College, which is good because then they'll have one. In an effort to improve reliability, New York's MTA has announced that later this year the F train will swap routes with the M train, and it'll do so without warning while you're on it and already running 5 minutes late. An Egyptian wrestler recently attempted to break a Guinness World Record by pulling a 700-ton ship across water by a rope with his teeth. The record was for richest dentist. I stand by it. The makers of Progresso soup have announced that they will offer a new limited edition deodorant, and like their soup, it'll come in regular and chunky style. I mean, seeing the picture, that you guys made the right sound. And finally, Spirit Airlines told a bankruptcy court yesterday that it has made massive progress in revitalizing itself. Said the court, "Okay, you clearly painted that on." In a post yesterday on Truth Social, President Trump defended his decision to deploy the National Guard to Portland, Oregon, and said the conditions in the city, quote, "continue to deteriorate into lawless mayhem." Oh, yeah, it's chaos. There's graffiti everywhere, people living in tents, and the streets are constantly terrorized by biker gangs. Please save them. In another post yesterday on Truth Social, President Trump also defended his decision to send money coming into the Treasury from tariffs to farmers and added, quote, "make soybeans and other row crops great again." And as far as slogans go, not his best. At this point, he's not selling hats, he's selling right-wing eye charts. President Trump urged Republican lawmakers yesterday in a post on Truth Social to use the government shutdown as an opportunity to cut federal agencies that they believe are wasteful. He asked them to collect some ideas and meet him in the new $200 million White House ballroom. In a new interview, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick said that President Trump usually gets less than 5 hours of sleep per night. Really? Because based on his appearance, it seemed like he's had 5 hours total. President Trump shared a Truth Social post today that said former President Joe Biden was a, quote, DEI hire. I'm sorry. You think Joe Biden is a minority? Like, from what group? People who lost their virginity to a Glenn Miller phonograph? There's not many of us left. President Trump also reposted a meme on Truth Social today with a picture of him and the caption, quote, "Cry all you want, he's doing exactly what I hired him for." Wow, who was the original poster? Oh, well, that makes sense. The hotel chain Holiday Inn Express has unveiled a new scent-based alarm clock that will wake up guests with a simulated smell of breakfast, because what weary traveler doesn't love to wake up to a lie? According to a new study, an experimental drug made from marijuana reduced back pain, though fair warning, it can increase stomach pain. In honor of the company's 100th anniversary, Howard Johnson will release a fried clam scented soap. And just a heads up, it's for after the beach, not before. And also, it's also not for after. Just maybe pass on that one. Finally, the second season of The Golden Bachelor premiered by the way, Mike Scollins, as a writer for a show, he wrote this joke, and I feel like I should apologize in advance, right? He doesn't have good taste. He's low-key a bad guy. Yeah. I'm gonna say it, but I don't own it. And finally, the second season of The Golden Bachelor premiered last week on ABC. Well, at least his decision will be hard. You guys, can I tell you a secret? I did like it. Well, that was about